we are gonna handle like this next baby. And I just kind of thought about that as I was like, oh, Jay was so much into research and all the things that you would tell me and do and the reasons why we did things. I kind of wonder how this one. I feel like you're gonna be so much more relaxed.
Don't give a shit.
You don't know it.
Conrad like, turned out okay.
You know so much, but you're not doing so much research.
Yeah.
Like preparing for this one. So how do you feel, or how are you gonna prepare for the next 3 months for the second baby?
I don't think I'm gonna be as you said earlier, paranoid.
Yes.
About the smallest things, like, oh my gosh, like, we have to feed the baby like this so that he doesn't have gas. Or remember that one time it's like you were like, you need to feed the baby like he's sitting up because then they're gonna get gassy. And then so I'm like trying to feed this baby. I'm like, I'm not feeding him like this. I'm like feeding him like standing up, bottle like this. And I was like, Conrad doesn't want to eat like that. I was like, when she wasn't looking, I was like, come back down.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You were so bad.
There's a lot of stuff that I just think is freaking ridiculous.
No, I think of the big thing. I don't think it was up. Wasn't it more like you were supposed to pretend you were like feeding him from my nipple?
From your nipple, yeah. And I was like, no way. Like, no. I've seen many people feed their babies like this, you know, like normal. So I was like, forget this shit. So like stuff like that.
I can't believe you did that with all the things you told me I couldn't do a certain way because of
that was
your
the
research.
one thing. Like that was the one thing. Conrad was just a colicky baby. Like whatever we needed to do to get him to shut up and sleep, like we were gonna try to do.
I feel
we were pumping this kid with Milacon drops. Like he would eat this shit like gas drops, like fucking candy.
Or something else.
You know, when you don't do a podcast for a couple of weeks, shit just starts to move on its own.
Oh my god!
And my mic was about to fall off of
You're obnoxious.
You know what I need to try to do? I need to try to see how we can connect our podcast system to video, like FaceTime, and we can FaceTime people. Almost similar to like how Dax and Monica does it for people who call in, you know?
Armchair Anonymous.
Yeah. And then we can interview people like Daniel and talk about airplanes. We can talk to...
Okay.
Well, we need to broaden our audience. Okay.
I know. I don't mean that. I just thought about all the acronyms that I would be. My eyes would glaze over, and I'd be like,
"You'd be surprised how much you learn from some stuff like that."
Oh, I know I would. I'm not saying that because he's very knowledgeable, but like that text message you read to me from Scott and Daniel, and they were like F5678732, and I was like, I didn't understand a word of that except. That's funny. All
right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm looking at ordering Insomnia cookies.
Insomnia, what about crumble?
Okay.
We don't have any dessert in the house because we are trying to be healthy. Yet tonight we're just feeling a little extra. But anyways, guys, welcome back. We are here. This is the Unscripted Conversation Podcast. My name is Jay.
And I'm Molly.
And this week, no good flavors at crumble cookie.
Semi-sweet chocolate chunk, strawberry crumb cake, berries and cream.
That's the one, the strawberry crumb cake. I wonder if that strawberry crumb cake was similar to that my favorite strawberry.
It looks similar, but it wasn't.
It wasn't. Darn it! You guys remember that ice cream back in the day, the strawberry shortcake? Oh, that has to be one of my favorite ice creams ever. Ever. And
yeah, I tried it. Do you remember us trying it?
Yeah, it was a bad one though. It was a bad one. That's bad.
Okay.
What I used to do is I used to eat off the little, what was that, coconutty, crispy, like
I don't think
coating
it was coconut,
on it.
But there was like a crunchy coating.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I would just eat like the ice cream and the strawberry kind of like center by itself. So yeah, that was my ice cream of choice back in the day. But welcome back. This week we're gonna talk about having baby number 2 and how Molly's been managing her first 2 trimesters because now we're in the 3rd trimester. So we got 3 months more until baby little dude comes. Baby little dude. Probably talk about like what we've been doing to prepare, what to expect. when you're having 2 kids and what the second one's like. We're not pros at it, but from our experience, we're going to talk about like what we've been doing to prepare for baby number 2. And then kind of talk about things that we hope to kind of learn from all this after having Conrad. So, for to start off, there's a little update since the last time we had this podcast. I went home for like 24 hours, I think it was.
Yeah.
Quick trip. Went to go see my family. Went to go see my grandpa at the cemetery. It was nice to see him, or to actually just kind of go visit him. And then finished my tattoo, and then ate like Korean barbecue, and then went to sleep, and then came home. It was such a quick trip.
What'd you bring home?
Well, I brought home a bunch of clothes that my mom and my dad bought for Conrad and Griffin, and then a bunch of Korean barbecue short ribs that's frozen. And Molly loves this. I think we talked about this at another podcast.
I know. Remember, I was like,
yeah. And then we're like, is it defrosted, or is it in the fridge, or is it in the freezer?
We should have that this week.
We could do that. Yeah,
Can we have that
for
this
sure.
week? Okay.
So 3 bags, the gallon-sized bags of Korean.
Did I tell you
barbecue.
what your dad said?
No.
He'll bring me more when he comes visits.
He said that?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
He loves me.
He loves the fact that you love his cooking. That's like the biggest compliment to him.
I love his cooking. He's always like, "Did you like it?" And I'm like, "Yes." Is that even a question anymore? Like, just keep it coming.
Well, my mom was telling me when I was home that Auntie, like Yoli and Auntie G, were really surprised at like how you were so interested in Filipino food and that you would eat like anything. Because I think you tried everything. You tried the Mickey.
Yep.
You tried the flan.
Yep.
You ate all the Filipino food. So they were kind of surprised that you were like so integrated within our culture.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like, oh, we like her.
Aww.
Like she's not picky with Filipino food. And I was like, well, she didn't try the real Filipino food.
Yeah, because you know that like.
I think you like some of them.
I think so too.
Like you tried like the kare-kare, didn't you? Yeah. And it was okay.
I liked it. It's just
different.
Getting over the fact that you're eating meat that tastes like peanut butter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is peanut butter.
Well, I know, but like peanut butter meat shouldn't taste like peanut butter. You know, in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's no different than, I don't know, anything else that just like doesn't sound like it should go together.
Yeah.
You know,
for
so
sure.
it's like, don't think about it. And then
like,
it's not weird or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same thing as like if there was liver or intestines in something. As long as I don't know, I won't think about it.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because it's probably delicious.
And I think that's what.
But the minute you know, you're kind of like,
you already like have it in your mind and you can't accept it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There's a couple dishes that I think you'd like. I just can't tell you what's in it until you taste it.
Yes.
And then tell you like, or maybe not even tell you. Just like we can just eat it. If you like it, you like it.
Kind of like
what I mean?
what you did for sushi the first time I had sushi.
Oh
You're
yeah.
I'm just, don't worry about it. Just eat it.
Yeah.
You know, just try it. And then you kind of told me, and now I'm okay with it. But I still like prefer not to know because I still kind of get it in my head like.
You know, like, well, your cousin though, we were just like perusing Instagram while we were eating dinner tonight, and her cousin's at a sushi bar right now. And I'm like, oh,
can we get sushi like not the raw fish sushi, but even just the like California roll and stuff one of these days? Because actually, I've been craving.
You can have
sushi.
cooked fish.
I know.
It's just not as good.
I think it's delicious.
I will give Molly credit from like where she is today to where I first met her. Her palate, her taste and texture palate has grown immensely.
Yes.
And she is willing to at least try stuff before she just like knocks on it.
Yeah.
And sushi was one of them. And then we went to a sushi restaurant with her mom and Catherine, I think it was.
No, it was just my mom.
Was it just your mom? And you were just chowing down. I was like, she had a dragon roll. She tried the spicy tuna roll, but the texture was just a little much.
Texture of the tuna was a little weird.
Yeah, but I mean, she had like a dragon roll. You had like another roll that had the diced tuna in it.
Mm-hmm.
So You know what is in a dragon roll?
The eel, right?
The eel, yeah. See, and an unagi sauce on top. Yeah. So, I mean, her taste palette has grown tremendously, which is awesome. So we just gotta kind of keep building out on the Filipino side because there's some really real delicacies in Filipinos.
Yeah.
There's one that I really, really love, but I'll never probably tell you what is in it. I love it. Like,
has your dad made it?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's no way he'll make that.
Oh, really?
For you guys, at least.
Oh, I know, but like he hasn't made it for like a party or anything. Or...
No. But he's made so there's 2 different dishes. I won't like dive into it.
Yeah.
But there's 2 dishes that I like. One of them I absolutely love. You eat it over white rice. Mm-hmm. Oh, like I just think about it.
First of all, that was like a stupid comment because anything we eat, whether it has noodles in it or not, you put it on white rice
anyways. That is true. That's true.
No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you have white rice with that? Say white rice real fast.
Yeah, white rice. You want some white rice? Some white rice. So yeah, no, it was a quick trip. Brought home some food. Brought home some noodles too. We can make. My dad said that one of the noodles we can use for like chicken long rice, which is the tanula, but you just put noodles in there too instead of just the broth. Yes. But anyways, so yeah, we did that. And then our friends from North Dakota, Scott and Carly, and
I always think it's South Dakota.
North Dakota. Yeah. Just right at the border of Minnesota and North Dakota. Grand Forks. They came to visit. Haven't seen them since my wedding or our wedding. Mm-hmm. And my wedding. Yes. It's my wedding.
Yes.
Colin, their oldest, is like a little man.
Yes.
So crazy. He was only like a year?
2.
A little over a year at our wedding. Yeah. So nuts. And then they have a second baby now. Henrik. So cute.
They're and then, about the same 8 months apart as Conrad and our new baby, right?
I think he's a little older. Yeah, because he'll
be almost 3.
A year and something when they got pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just a little older. But yeah, so it was nice to see them. Daniel came into town, just hung out a little bit, went to a brewery. And I had like 3 or 4 beers total. And I was just like feeling it. When we're at Cops, eating ice cream, and I was just like talking. I was like, man, I'm talking pretty loud. When I was talking about like,
so loud.
Just like
me and Carly were like, the lady behind you is looking at us.
Really?
Yes. That's why I was like, shh.
I kept looking at her too. And
I know you were.
I was like, hey. And I was like kissing Conrad to make it look like I was a good dad. Just like, and she goes like staring at me. I was like, I don't know what you're staring at, lady. Well, I was feeling it. I was feeling good.
Oh my
I don't really drink. Speaking of which, today's episode is sponsored by Happy Dad.
We already did that.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Not in this episode.
No, but previous ones.
Yeah, every episode, though, has a different sponsor.
I know, but we've already done that sponsor.
Happy Dad. Noble, then.
Yeah,
this episode is now sponsored by Noble.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was. It was nice to see them.
It's been freaking hot here in Wisconsin this week.
Stupid hot.
Oh my gosh.
I'm over it.
Yeah. I think we're done though.
Yeah.
Are we? Are we done?
I think so.
I think we're done. It was like 100 degrees.
It's supposed to be so nice like this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. And
really?
Like nice 70s like next week.
Oh, perfect. Fall's here.
See, I'm like excited for fall because I love fall. But at the same time, I'm like, where the F did the summer go? So like I'm not ready for it.
Yeah.
Really fast.
You know, I would take fall weather all year.
Me too.
Like if I could have fall weather, like the crisp night and mornings, and then just like a really temperate.
There was somewhere that someone told me it was kind of like that. Now I can't remember where it was.
Like Seattle.
No, because that's dreary half the time.
Montana.
Was it?
Yeah, Wyoming, Montana. They do have winters though. Yeah, I don't think you can ever find anything like that.
No, there was something that
Kansas?
was like.
No, Kansas is hot.
Think about it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a little quick update. What about you? Any updates from you?
I don't think so.
No.
Work, home.
Yeah.
Work again.
Work,
back home.
It's like we're just like going through the motions some days, but we have a good flow.
Yeah, like in a good way. Like I don't feel like, oh, just another day. I mean, sometimes I do, but I mean, it doesn't feel like, we're just going through the motions.
Like we're just like on autopilot.
Yeah. Like we are, but
It's like exciting because like we worked out like every day this week.
Yeah.
Even when you had your doctor's appointment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
The only day I missed was
your face.
My face.
Your face.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been crushing it in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
While he was doing some clean and jerks the other night, I was like, "Holy shit!"
I'm doing that
belly.
With good weight too.
Good weight
like
too,
now,
and like good
before
form.
I couldn't do that. Yeah. I'm excited for after this pregnancy to like push it,
crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not like, too soon though, because then you're gonna tear shit down.
Yeah,
there.
I gotta wait like a good 6 weeks.
That's long.
I know it is, but I'm gonna like.
Tia was back. She was doing upper body stuff though.
I think she definitely waited for like the heavy stuff. I mean, there's definitely stuff I can do.
She did like upper body though.
But like a good 6 weeks before you put too much pressure like on your abdomen and stuff. Because I think I maybe did too much the last time, and I think I need some pelvic floor therapy.
Yeah, but leaking. She did say that though when she was jumping up and down on a double unders. She said she had to pee or something like that.
Me?
No, Tia. Yeah. She's like double unders quotation mark or not quotation parentheses like makes you want to pee.
Yes.
And end up parentheses. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, because everything is like stretched and like
loosey goosey.
Yes. No, seriously, because everything has to like loosen up for pregnancy, and I don't think, or like in delivery, and I don't think things really go back to normal. Like literally probably every woman should go through pelvic floor therapy, which is not just Kegel exercises either for those people that don't know, like there's more to it to strengthen those core abdominals. And I'm sure mine are so weak now because now I'm adding extra pressure down there again with a baby, you know?
Interesting.
Like, yeah.
So, I think I can do Kegel exercises. I think I'm doing it right now. I'm working my Kegel.
They tell like women, like it's like when you have to pee and you're trying to hold it in.
Yeah.
Yep. I know there's a couple people I follow on Instagram that like have some pelvic floor like exercises and things, and I might start with that like post pregnancy. I should start like writing them down and doing things.
Can't you do that right now though too?
I'm sure I could. There's actually one that like I keep seeing, like, I don't know why it keeps popping up on my like stories, as I'm paging through. Like, I don't know why that one's always like,
advertised.
Yes. No, it's like somebody I follow too.
Oh, okay.
But she does a lot of, I don't even know what it is. Honestly, I haven't really looked into it. I don't know why I follow it. I probably just like clicked on something. I was like, oh, that'll be interesting one day and I should look into this, and then never did. Yeah. But it's something about like pelvic floor therapy for birthing and stuff in certain positions that are better and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I should probably sign up for one of those. It's like $40. And I'm like, oh, that's not bad. Like that's worth it. And I probably should do something like that, but in my free time.
Yeah. We have so much free time nowadays. Just kidding. We don't. Yeah. So I think that's what's going on in the Benez household.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's much new otherwise.
Yeah.
Like from my standpoint.
Same. So let's get into today's topic. So it's, whoa, I just burped. Sorry.
Yeah, we all heard it.
That was an ASMR right there for you.
What the hell is ASMR?
Babe, we talked about ASMR before already. Yes. It's like the, I'm right here.
What is that though? What does it stand for?
Like audio, sensory.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Something.
Like in the beginning of this, before we actually started, but it was recording. I kept going.
Yeah, you're going.
Because it's like so loud, and I don't feel like. Ew.
That was like a burp. So today's conversation, we're going to be talking about like having baby number 2, what we've done. Maybe something to helping like people who are planning on having a second baby, what to look for, how to plan things out. So I guess first my question to you is, how has this pregnancy with our second baby different than Conrad? Our first baby, by the way. Just so people understand.
And just so you know, you can call the second
baby
his
already,
name because you already dropped it last episode and this episode at one point.
Yeah. Griffin.
Yeah. I don't think a lot has been different in the scheme of things. Like looking back, when people are like, how are you feeling? Like, gosh, you're already, 6 months through and stuff. And I'm always like, I'm good. Like, so from like that standpoint, like I've been very fortunate in both of these pregnancies to actually feel overall really good.
Yeah.
Now, if I had to think about it, I'd be like, I'm so much more tired this pregnancy. Like,
really?
Yes. Like, obviously I can still work out and things. And I know there's people who are like just so exhausted they can't even like, continue to function. So it's not that, but like, I'm just always like, oh, I'm tired. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, if Jay said he doesn't want to work out today, I'd probably be like, okay, but at the same time, sometimes I'm driving home and I'm like, okay, I'm looking forward to our workout, even though I'm like tired and whatever, because I know that like it wakes me up a little bit or like gives me a little bit of those endorphin energies. So,
yeah,
so it's not that bad, but like definitely different type of tiredness, I guess. And then definitely just feeling different things in my abdomen, which I think they call mostly like round ligament pain. So because of having babies so close together, like things just kind of don't go back together. And I think just even necessarily just having your second baby, no matter the timing, things are just different. Your abdomen's already kind of stretched out and things. So things are kind of like stretching out again in different ways. And so that's like different kind of pain and things because I never had that before.
Yeah. So with that, have you noticed that like the pain that you feel with that abdomen, is it different than like when you're growing Conrad, where it was like new, it's like new stretching, new pains. It's like different.
It's like sharp and painful. Like
where
really?
I'm
like, oh, this kind of takes my breath away. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it's like not comfortable at all. Where I'm sure the other, like I don't really remember it, but I'm sure it was more just like, oh, things are stretching, and like when you like stretch a muscle, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
This is like really painful.
But I know, like you've talked to your doctor about that.
Yeah.
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 And she
it's
has
normal.
It's normal.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. We're not medical professionals. Well,
yes.
We're not OBs in that sense of the word. So whatever we say in our podcast, like don't take it for professional advice and service. Like you got to go speak and seek out your OB and, consult with them with whatever is going on with your body.
And yeah,
this
and
is
I
just
think
from personal experience.
And I think like too, like if you're having certain pains, like, just always mention that to your OB, even though your friends and you might hear us saying like, oh, I have this normal. And it was normal for me.
Yeah.
I always think it's good to make them aware because everybody's pregnancy, everybody's body's different. So they might already know something about you that would change their mind of like the pain you're having isn't normal for you, So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I saw my doctor this week and I was like, even though I know a lot of things because we are medical professionals and I've, learned about OB stuff and I'm going to be like, I know this is probably normal. I still just like said it just to make sure because they are the professionals.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
With you entering your third trimester, what are the biggest things that you're kind of focusing on with this last 3 months? Fitness wise, health wise, maybe, I don't know, different than what you might have like anticipated with Conrad because that was our first pregnancy. Like, how are you going to approach this last trimester?
Nesting. Everyone calls it that. I like feel like so much anxiety of like getting things ready and like set now because we're like down to the wire and like I know we have 3 months, but I feel like, oh my God, we have 3 months. And so now I want to like start organizing things more and things. And we're very prepared people. So like we got everything ready like pretty quickly. So we're ready, Yeah. But like I'm kind of like, okay, I got to get the room like more situated and all this stuff. He has a place to sleep. He's not even going to sleep there like right away. But I'm like, oh God, okay. Like, and I have to tell myself like, it does not need to be done right now. Yeah. This is not something that needs to be done right now. We have plenty of time. So that's a big thing. Like from that, like an overall standpoint, from a fitness and stuff standpoint, I've been really struggling this pregnancy with like weight gain and accepting the way I look. Like I don't like it even though I'm pregnant. Like I'm like last time I was like, oh, I'm cute, I'm pregnant, whatever, blah blah blah. This time I hate every aspect of it.
Yeah. Why is that though? Is it because you're comparing to what you saw last year? Like do you see a big difference between what you look like last year to what you look like now? Because I think, and I'm not just saying this because you're my wife.
Yeah.
I think last pregnancy, considering it was the first pregnancy, we really didn't know like what kind of activity you can do, what's pushing the limit, what's, healthy eating or whatnot. I do feel that like me personally, the last trimester after our wedding, like we just ate like crap.
Yes.
And we think we're like eating out a lot because we were just like, you were tired. So I was like, oh, let's just eat out. And like, I even too saw myself like gain tremendous weight over last summer after our wedding.
I think a lot of it was that like all of our stress and everything from the wedding to me finishing school to honeymoon to getting through my test. It was like, okay, all of that's over. We can just relax.
And
we relaxed in every aspect of our lives, including even our nutrition.
Fitness too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because we was like, okay, now we can just like coast until we have the baby.
Yeah. Well, I was like looking at, we have this like dry erase board in our gym with all our kind of like benchmarks for our weights and stuff. And then like was it this week even? I was like, I don't know what we're looking at, bench press or something. I was like, holy shit, I did that last June. And I was like, I can't do that right now. So I was like, what the hell happened?
You could, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think that you have a better hold on maybe like because you're motivated from just personal view of what you want to look like or not want to look like for that matter.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's just like a motivation to kind of not let that.
Yeah. And I feel like overall, like I've done okay. Even like after Conrad, I struggled with the way I looked and I never got to a point where like I was happy with the way I looked. And I've always struggled with that, but now it's like just different because I know what I could look like. And I know I'm never going to get quite back to that from the sense that my body has changed.
Yeah.
Not skinny wise, not fat wise, not, number on the scale wise, just my body has changed. And, and for the most part, I'm okay with that. I think I just need to find what kind of style I'm comfortable in. And I don't know that, at this point. I don't know that I've ever known that. Yeah. And so it's like, and then I have the other conflict of like, oh, I don't want to buy all this stuff because I don't want to spend the money, So like, then there's that side of it. So just wear what you have and just get over it, So like, it's just this constant like battle. I do feel that like, even though I think my weight is similar at this point in the pregnancy, compared to the first pregnancy, I can tell that it's not all fat or like, it's different because even doing certain movements or like I can feel like the muscles different and like my abdomen different and things. So like I know that's different.
Yeah.
It's not all fat or it's not, maybe there is still fat, but it's like more proportion muscle. Different and things because there's also a lot of muscle with that.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
I definitely see that you're more like toned and more muscle than you were last year. Yeah. And I think that comes from just like the persistence, of like increasing weight or increasing activity. And you're holding yourself accountable too because you're part of this Mint project, as an ambassador. So it's like something's one, keeping you accountable.
Right.
Two, you understand your body a little bit more during pregnancy.
Yep.
And in 3, you're stronger than you were last year. You
know
God,
what I mean? Yeah.
And like going back to what you kind of mentioned about like your image, like not finding what and the identity you want to be. When you were like at your very like lightest, you were skinny, like skinnier, like from when I first met you.
Oh God, yeah.
And looking back at photos of that, I'm like, maybe you were just like a little like too skinny. But I think but now it's like we're kind of molding into something else. Like for me, for instance, when I was like, before I met you, I was skinny.
You were skinny too.
I was like,
yeah.
I was like cut and like chiseled, but I was skinny and I didn't like that.
Yep.
I like being thick now, but I want to be like a muscular thick. Yes. So I think that's almost like, and I'm not speaking for you, but maybe this is like just by hearing who you see in CrossFit that inspire you. The athletes tend to be a little bit more thicker, but they're muscular. You know, they look good as bigger women and not these smaller kind of petite people. Right. So like, I don't know, maybe that's, and I'm just speaking, you know, off my experience of seeing you with fitness. I think that's like maybe the route that you're going is just being, embracing the thickness that you have, especially bottom heavy.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
But embracing it as far as like getting strong there and embracing the thickness of it. Even though it is like a larger, like outline than let's say when you were right before baby, because you were like skinny.
Yeah,
it's almost like a little too skinny.
Yeah, like I was, but I wasn't lifting like I was then either.
Yeah,
you know, at that point. So I'm definitely, I know I can get skinny like that again, but keep my strength. Yeah, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So there's that difference.
Yeah,
and. You know, do I hope to get that? Yes. I think that'll be probably post all of our babies. Yeah. You know, because, you know, there's just that ebbs and flows. And when you're breastfeeding, it's hard to, you know, lose weight. And, you know, you still need to get your nutrition. Otherwise you're, you know, so there's just all these, you know, components to when you're at this stage of our lives, you know.
Yeah.
But I think like the big thing is just not going overboard, you know, during the pregnancy. So it's not so hard to get back to that pre-pregnancy weight or maybe even a little bit down and, you know, just focusing on that. And I think overall I could be a little bit better on nutrition, but sometimes I'm just hungry and then I just know I need to eat. And could I choose some better options sometimes? Absolutely. But sometimes that just doesn't sound good either. So like, it's all like moderation and trying to just find a balance and still do well.
Yeah, you're not like a trash can where you're just eating crappy stuff. No, you know, we're still trying to eat healthy.
Yes.
And every once in a while, maybe that small little snack, you know. Right. But I think we're more conscious of what we're eating and not just pigging out. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, good. You know, I would definitely see you, you know, putting up gains in the gym, which I think is a testament to like who you want to be in this pregnancy.
Yeah.
Knowing what you went through with Conrad and like being, you know, maybe not the most healthiest or whatnot.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. Like, I can definitely tell in the last like 2 or 3 weeks that things are changing and getting harder in the gym. And so I need to find that balance because I can tell I'm not able to push myself as much as I want to.
Scaling it.
Because of like I have some pressure and things and I can tell that that's probably not the best. And so I probably should go back and follow some of the MIT program stuff a little bit more, but it's really hard when I see like, you know, I want to work on these movements, new CrossFit movements that I've like done really good at, but I know that that's like putting some pressure on things. And so I'm like kind of in this dilemma right now, like mentally, like trying to find that balance of
doing those movements, but at a scaled like weight.
Yes, which is really hard because I know I can lift more and so I'm really struggling there.
I think what we can try to do for sure is, I know like heavy lifting may not be the priority.
Yeah.
But maybe going at a moderate rate at a higher rep scale. Because then you're not only getting your strength, but you're still able to have fun doing the movement. Yeah. So I think we can find that healthy balance where you can still have fun with me doing Olympic weightlifting and not give it up entirely. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I need to find that because I definitely like have noticed.
You're doing
that
pretty
there's
well.
Like just the discomfort though. And so I need to, find the balance
Find
right
that
now.
balance for sure.
I'm working on that.
With having 2 kids,
we
have the need for two
of everything. Yeah.
Especially having them this close.
Right. I was going to say it's different because Conrad is not a toddler.
Yeah.
Technically, I guess he's
2 years.
Right? 2?
No, toddler is where he
12,
is
right? Yeah, 12 months. And so he's technically a toddler, but he's still a baby.
Yeah.
In so many ways. So
we have 2 of everything, or going to have 2 of everything.
Yeah.
We just bought him his new car seat, which stays in a car instead of the infant car seat. So something to plan out, and everybody has their own ways of planning these things out, specifically for like car seats, right? So there's 2 different kinds. There's an infant car seat where there's a base that stays in the car, but then you can take the car seat out and your baby stays in it. Or there's a convertible car seat where it stays in the car and you take your baby out. So there's 2 different kinds, and there's different kinds that actually you can use from birth to 3 years old. They're convertible that way. So we just bought Conrad like a convertible car seat that stays in the car because now he's kind of outgrown a little bit the infant car seat.
Right.
So we have 2 of that now. And with that comes with, whenever we travel, like strollers, And so we've been fortunate enough. We do a lot of research. I did a lot of research on strollers and what strollers. Yeah. You just go with the flow. Strollers actually too, it just depending on how old your kids are, what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be out in stores or traveling, things like that, you want to find a stroller that may be able to convert from 1 child to holding 2 children. And we went with a Upper Baby Vista V2, which can hold technically 3 kids.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but 2, and they're kind of staggered in like a theater kind of seating. So you can have 1 baby up top, 1 baby on like towards the bottom. And that'll solve your transport needs for traveling or at the store. Conrad, though, he loves sitting in the cart now. So, we also have the smaller stroller. Like now we got 2 strollers.
Yep.
A smaller stroller that kind of like holds just 1, baby.
Yep.
So it's all just kind of, you got to plan out the future, right? So like if you plan on having more kids, it wouldn't be a bad idea to start thinking about the purchases you make now with like baby 1, so that you can upgrade what you currently have and not have to buy 2 of everything later on down the road.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people just think of in the moment, and thinking of like, oh, I'm just going to get this jogging stroller because I know I want to jog. But usually those jogging strollers I feel aren't convertible.
Yep.
You can't fit more than 1 in there and things. And so, yes, if you're jogging a lot, like it is great, but then, you got to think of, what happens when you do have 2. And I think what was fortunate for us, and not everyone, knows this, is like, are you going to try for 2 and when? And we really knew kind of how we ideally wanted things to go. And when we were going to try again, if we felt comfortable, after having the first one and stuff, and we were fortunate enough to have that conversation because we were at that point in our lives. I don't feel like everyone is. Some people are getting married young and then they're not really sure when they're going to have a baby. And then, yeah, good, we have a baby, but we have time to have another baby, where we felt like we didn't, in the sense that we're getting older.
Yeah, for sure.
So like,
for sure,
we just knew what our timeline was, so we could kind of plan for that. But yeah, definitely things to think about, because gosh, I mean, we're going to hopefully get so much use out of what we have because of our timing and things.
Yeah, and planning it out too,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really, I guess it's hard to really say that, because you can plan for something, like plan to have 2 kids within, let's say, 3 years, but it really depends on your body and like how everything works out down there, Yep. So, and you can plan for it, and sometimes your plans go as planned or they don't. But if you have already kind of an overview of like what you hope to have, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just start planning the things that can be upgradable. For instance, like a stroller or a car seat or even a bed. Let's talk about a crib. So Conrad's crib that we bought him is like this bougie bed that like converts, it's a crib that converts to
a toddler
like
bed.
A toddler bed. And then I think it can, no, it doesn't.
The white one doesn't.
No, the white one doesn't. So it is a convertible bed. So you're not stuck, and some people just like these nice bassinets, which are smaller, but it wouldn't be a bad idea to start thinking about, okay, can I use this bed for a longer period of time past toddlerhood where this kid can sleep in it or a child can sleep in it for a few years? You know, that'll save you money down the road from having to buy like an actual bed. So I think that's what we've been looking at. And also his new crib, because we're transitioning his old bed to Griffin's bed now, our second. We had to buy Conrad a new crib because he is still a little small. He doesn't really sleep on his own in a regular bed yet. But we bought him a new crib that can actually convert to a twin size bed.
I think it converts all the way to a full size.
Does
bed,
it full
actually.
too?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of cool that, you know, you can also think about those things.
Right.
Upgradable cribs. If you like the whole bassinet thing, I mean, it's good for you, but just plan for that for the future.
Well, and I think, you know, we've seen, you know, some of those like really tiny cribs. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Where they're like almost like a bassinet, you know, from the size wise.
Yep.
And I think like if you hope to have kids as close as we did, that might not be a bad idea, or it'll work because you're going to just upgrade to like a crib like we did for Conrad that is then convertible, you know, even more. So like I think in certain situations it's definitely doable to get like these smaller, you know, space saving cribs or whatever they advertise as.
For sure.
But definitely so that you don't have to keep buying all these dang cribs like we did. You know, I mean, we really did, even though we were thinking about it.
Yep.
Just trying to plan a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's hard because you just never know what God has in store for you.
For sure.
You know, so we have planned for 3 kids and maybe we won't, you know, have 3 kids, you know, as close as we want. And so, you know, things are going to get outdated or we're going to end up being like, this isn't going to work anymore or whatever, you know? So, yeah, I mean, but it's just good to try to think of that because definitely at least like our stroller and our car seat situation has worked out really well.
Yeah.
And like, we're going to be very fortunate to be able to have the baby and Conrad in one stroller if we go to the zoo or to a park or whatever, you know, so, and we didn't have to buy a new stroller and things.
Yeah. I think also the thing too, kind of piggybacking off of you and what you said about the cribs, most people, or some people, I don't say most, some people will have their babies in their master bedroom like for the first 3 months. I think they said a year.
6 months to a year. I think the new thing is a year. And
like cohabiting.
Yes.
There is something also called co-sleeping where, you know, parents will sleep with their kids in their beds, and that's a personal choice too. But if you're cohabiting with your baby in your room, which they do recommend doing for the first 6 months, I think, or a year now.
Keeps going back and forth because of all the studies.
All the studies, You maybe don't need like a big old crib, you know, full-size crib. Maybe that's something you put in like the baby room or like a nursery of some sort. So having like a small bassinet, and that's the other thing too, there's a gazillion freaking bassinets out there. Whatever you find will work for you and your family, go after it. We needed a freaking bougie ass bassinet.
And it still didn't even really work, let's be honest.
Yeah. A little bit more better than the other ones. I think we seriously went through like 4 different kinds of bassinets.
Oh my God, it was so bad. This kid would not sleep, and he would not sleep because he didn't want to be on his back. Literally, that was the only reason he did not sleep. I think he would have been sleeping through the night if we would have put him on his belly from day one. Yeah. Like, no question.
And that's the thing too, you know, like I said, we're not like these experts, but the back to sleep campaign that the APDs come out with, it is the ABCs of sleep. So alone, on their backs, in a crib. You know, that's their recommendation. So,
and I full-heartedly believe in that because I've seen poor babies who have, you know, not done well because they are put on their bellies or are co-sleeping with parents and things. And so it's hard for me to not, or when I hear stories of people co-sleeping, it's really hard for me not to think the worst of the worst because I've unfortunately seen it. Yeah. Because I was a pediatric nurse. But we were comfortable finally at 2 months for Conrad to be on his belly because he did have good head control and stuff. And I'm sure our doctor would be like, absolutely not. And I would say, well, too bad, we needed sleep.
Yeah.
So there's different things for everybody, and it has to be what you're comfortable with. I would not be comfortable co-sleeping with a very young baby. I even get nervous now, even with a 1-year-old baby who can push me off and, do whatever.
But some families find they can do it.
Some families find they can do it and do well with it, and good for them. But I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different variations in whatever works for your family and your situation. You got to kind of focus on that.
Right.
This is what worked for us. So yeah, that's kind of what we're.
And I
sharing.
think there's so many. Just like you should cohabitate with your child until they're 1 year old, and then there's no studies that contradict that now because they don't get good sleep because they're always listening to you, and when they hear you move, they're waking up, so no one's getting good. So there's so many things, and there's always going to be changing recommendations and things, and so we all survived, and when I say we all, I mean us people listening who are 30 and older.
Yeah.
And the way our parents did it, everything they did probably is a big old no now.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we all did fine. So, there's definitely, being smart about what you're doing and being aware of what you're doing, and, just doing what's good for you guys in a safe manner, you know, and stuff. So yes, we are all going to be fine, and we're all going to get our kids to turn out fine. And I think sometimes we do need to move away from listening to what everyone else says and thinks, including the researchers and the American Pediatric Association and stuff, because I don't think that when we're too strict, we're causing enough problems also.
Too much. And too much confusion too.
Yes.
And like I said, this is all, our personal views.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of what people and couples and parents need to do is just find out what works for you and do it, because you're raising your kids how you want to raise them, and nobody can really dictate to you on what to do because they're your kids. So
and I think kind of leading off of that, because we've been talking about this nurture versus nurture with Wendy Mogul a ton. She was on Armchair Expert a couple times now, and then she has her own little podcast thing where she's a psychiatrist, I believe.
I think she's
psychologist, one of the two. And she talks to families, parents, and their kids and stuff, and just helps them through situations. And her podcast Nurture versus Nurture is really just talking to parents and what they're seeing as problems. And it's not a psychology session. It's literally just let's talk through how you parent and things, and to educate us other parents who are listening.
Yeah.
And I really like listening to her because in this first episode, she really just kind of hits on how the world makes parents paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
And just like we're talking, there's so many different studies, and there's so many things, and there's so many people who are going to be telling you to do things one way because this is right. And really, in reality, us as parents need to just chill.
Mm-hmm.
And just do what we feel is right.
Yep.
Most of the time, in moderation. And, there's things we do need to listen to as parents because that's what's best for our kids and whatever. But it's actually making us more paranoid as parents, which is then in turn making our kids paranoid. Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So I think sometimes the world just needs to shut up and let us do what we've done for the last millions of years.
Give us some guidance for sure. What you feel, but guidance in the sense of not overbearing and micromanaging how we do things.
Yes.
Because I know there's for instance, the ABC rules of sleeping.
Yes.
Give us that, and then don't criticize us if we don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I totally get why that is pushed so much because of kids that have been rolled over on top of because moms are exhausted and they're co-sleeping because they're trying to feed their baby plus get sleep themselves and things. So I get where that came from, right? And I understand why, because no one wants to hurt their baby, and unintentionally, intentionally, whatever it ends up being, that's a horrible thing to go through.
Yeah.
And, so I get that one, but also
Well, also
sometimes we just need sleep, or if that's just how your kid is going to sleep, that's going to be what needs to be done.
Well, and also like the whole being on your back thing, like what is it, the sudden infant SIDS?
Yes.
Like research has shown that like babies who are on their stomach are at greater risk of SIDS.
But they still don't even know what SIDS is.
SIDS is, yeah.
So it's not even necessarily that they're putting their face in the mattresses and not being able to breathe and not being able to move their face. It's not, I think that's what they just kind of related to because they don't have an answer.
I was a belly sleeper when
So
I was a baby. So
yep. And I did okay.
Turned out okay.
Yep. But I held up my head right away.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd be as comfortable if Conrad couldn't hold up his head, which he was doing right away.
Yeah.
And, we gave him another 2 months to practice that because I do get that that's part of the problem or part of why it's supposed to be on your back, right?
Yeah. And it's also back development, actually.
Yes,
Sure,
absolutely. Like, that was your big thing is
cord.
you're like, oh, we can't put him on their belly because his back is going to be so weak. Oh my gosh, I remember that now. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
They talked about like the strengthening of the back muscles.
Yes. Oh my God. That is so, Jay does so much research and I love him for it. And it's just, that's so funny. You should start reviewing some of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I get the recommendations and things, but at the same time, there's millions of people who have survived doing it the way we used to do it, you know?
True.
But because of those, whatever percentage of people, or kids percentage that, didn't, now we have to have these recommendations.
For sure. Yeah.
But anywho, the next thing we were going to talk about is how we are going to handle like this next baby. And I just kind of thought about that as I was like, oh, Jay was so much into research and all the things that you would tell me and do and the reasons why we did things. I kind of wonder how this will. I feel like you're going to be so much more relaxed.
Don't give a shit.
You don't know it.
Conrad turned out okay.
You know so much, but you're not doing so much research.
Yeah.
Like preparing for this one. So how do you feel? Or how are you going to prepare for the next 3 months for the second baby?
I don't think I'm going to be as, you said earlier, paranoid.
Yes.
About the smallest things. Like, oh my gosh, like, we have to feed the baby like this so that he doesn't have gas. Or remember that one time it was like, you were like, you need to feed the baby like he's sitting up because then they're going to get gassy. And then so I'm like trying to feed this baby. I'm like, I'm not feeding him like this. I'm like feeding him like standing up, bottle like this. And I was like, Conrad doesn't want to eat like that. I was like, when she wasn't looking, I was like, put him back down.
No, you didn't.
I did.
You were so bad.
There's a lot of stuff that I just think is freaking ridiculous.
No, I think of the big thing. I don't think it was up. Wasn't it more like you were supposed to pretend you were like feeding him from my nipple?
From your nipple, yeah. And I was like, no way. Like, no. I've seen many people feed their babies like this, like normal. So I was like, forget this shit. So like stuff like that.
I can't believe you did that with all the things you told me I couldn't do a certain way because of
that was
your
the
research.
one thing. Like that was the one thing. Conrad was just a colicky baby. Like whatever we needed to do to get him to shut up and sleep, like we were gonna try to do.
I feel
we were pumping this kid with Milacon drops. Like he would eat this shit like gas drops, like fucking candy.
I feel like we thought I guess my mom thought he was kind of fussy too.
Yeah. You cannot tell me Conrad was a normal baby. He was colicky.
I don't know if it was colicky though. Like I don't know that I would name it colicky because I feel
we were doing everything. We were massaging his belly. We were trying to feed him a certain way.
Do you remember his poops?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like splattered on the wall.
This guy.
Projectile poop.
Kid. And we would go to change his diaper in the middle of the night and you'd lift up his legs, to wipe his bums. And he would literally just
freaking shit.
There
was a good 2 feet from his changing table to the door.
Tell us, guys, is this normal? Like, I don't know if it was.
He had so much back pressure. That's the gas. It was like a freaking airsoft gun just ready to blow.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, stuff like that. I think we were so hung up on like I was hung up on him swaddling him because like freaking just like tied up freaking tight like this. I was like, somebody who just doesn't want to be swaddled. Fucking kid hated swaddling. We have a gazillion swaddles, all the different kinds you want.
Wait, this research guy. Well,
I researched everything.
He didn't like this swaddle for this hour, so let me get a different one.
Yeah.
He didn't even let him try it and get used to it. It was like, oh, let me get this one. Oh, let me get this one. I swear every day there was a new swaddle at the door.
Swaddle.
Oh my god.
Swaddles that put their arms up like this. Swaddles that like one arm. Swaddles that had a little weight on their chest, which by the way, they actually recalled.
I know.
Which is kind of the nest.
Yes.
Yeah, the nest egg or something like that. So I think with, and then like now you can say we or me, because COVID was going around, we were like super uber protective, like taking our baby out and like people seeing him, all this stuff. And then looking back now, I'm like, sorry, my contacts are just like freaking itchy. I think knowing what I know now about like the immune system of babies and how you want to get their immune system boosted and things like that. Not that we would ever wish like our kids to be sick, because Conrad has been very fortunate. He hasn't really been sick. I don't think I'm going to put our next baby in this bubble where just like can't go out.
I'm going to kind of disagree with that.
Why?
Because we're having our baby in the height of RSV and flu season.
In the wintertime?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we're not going to go out like when it's freaking frigid outside, but I don't think that, I think we can still go do stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes. And I don't know that we were like that with Conrad. I think it was more just that we didn't have a lot of people over because we didn't want him exposed to stuff, which like looking back on, we would have been fine in the summer. But now having a baby at the beginning of December, post Thanksgiving, where then things start ramping up because of everyone's around their families and like kids are coming around grandparents who, kids who've been to school have had these viruses already. Now they're giving it to grandparents. They're giving it to aunts and uncles that don't have kids, whatever, who haven't been exposed to it now. It spreads like wildfire. But so I do have a little bit of...
I will agree to you to some extent, but I also feel, though, that can happen anytime. Look at the COVID numbers that are spiking right now.
Yes, but it's not RSV.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it can happen anytime. RSV, cold, flu, just because there's no vaccine that babies can take or receive for RSV or for flu, doesn't mean that we have to absolutely bubbleize like our baby. Now, granted, it's probably a lot easier because it is wintertime and we probably won't go out to like breweries or restaurants or things like that. But I don't think that limiting
I'm not as worried about
with like friends or whatnot would be a problem.
Okay. I think it's something we should talk about and think about. I just don't want people in his face, and because that's where the viruses come from. I'm not saying we can't go to a restaurant because someone's not going, "Hi, baby," into his face.
So I guess, so what you're saying is, so for the first 3 months of his life, no contact with other people.
No, I don't know. I don't know what the magic number is. I really don't.
But that's what you're saying is flu season. I would say flu season will go through like March, maybe.
Yeah.
So 3-4 months, no contact with other people. Because I mean, you could say that for anybody. I mean, you could literally say that about anybody.
What do you mean?
Cousins, aunts, parents, babysitters.
Well, I'm not going to say that no one can come over. I just think we need to be mindful of who's holding and touching our baby.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I get that. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is with Conrad, it was like we didn't really go out. We didn't even really like go to the store as often. I think that was
more just because of COVID and stuff.
Yeah, which is probably nothing anymore.
Right. Like, I'm not worried about like that stuff. I really am only worried about RSV because RSV is already like starting to spike, and in little babies, like a newborn, it wreaks havoc, and we will be in the hospital. It's the only thing I'm worried about. I have friends who their kids already have RSV, and like little babies who are on oxygen and things. And so it's like, I just don't want people in his face continuously right after having him with Christmas and everything else. I just want us to be mindful of like, how are we going to navigate that with keeping him safe? That's all.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not saying we can't do anything and we have to stay in this little bubble and stuff. Like I don't feel like we were that, like, I know we were thinking about that, but I don't feel like we were that type A about it, meaning like we were really, I don't remember us being that strict about it.
I think it was different because one, it was summertime, but I also do feel that we were a little bit more restrictive with Conrad because we just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, like one of the reasons
didn't want
why
him getting sick, meaning like COVID sick.
Yeah.
Because we just didn't know. I honestly could care less about COVID. I'm more worried about RSV.
Yeah. Isn't there anything like for infants anyways or RSV?
Mm-mm.
I thought there was like a...
You're thinking pertussis.
No, I thought there was like a... I think they might have come out with like an RSV,
I think there's something
immunization.
In like the works. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess it comes with the season and it comes with everything that goes on in like medicine and everything. Like
right.
we're encroaching on flu season now, right. Which everybody...
Even the flu doesn't scare me as much. Like, yes, flu is very bad for little infants and, you know, newborns and stuff, and can be just as bad as RSV and, you know, things like that. But RSV is just really bad.
Yeah. And I mean, I remember last year,
yes.
Like we were scared about RSV for Conrad.
Yes. Yes. So. But it doesn't, I'm not scared to like take him out or have people see him or even have people come over, because I feel like we also have to give like our family and friends credit. They're not going to come over if they've been sick or been around people who are sick. And I also don't think they would be hurt or judgmental of us if we were like, hey, just also like, please, if you've been around anybody who's sick or if you're feeling sick, like, let's postpone. Like, no one's going to judge us for that. And I think it's just something we have to be thinking about because we're post Thanksgiving and leading up to Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, when we're having this baby. So we just have to be mindful of, you know, that situation and being around more people than we probably normally would be.
Yeah.
Too, you know.
I mean, and just Uncle John's Christmas party.
Right.
Like,
right.
That's probably like...
And I've thought about that, or we have to just be mindful of we're not passing him around to people. And if we don't pass him around to people, he'll be safe. You know, for the most part. Yeah, because you're not in the
still,
face.
Like, falling around though.
Yeah, but it's more about that little old grandma who walks up to your kid in the store and goes, "Oh, hi, baby," and like touches them and spits in their face. You know, even though she's not purposely spitting in their face.
Yeah.
It's that 6 feet of contact. Why was COVID 6 feet? It's because of 6 feet things are flying. You know.
True.
And so it's more that it's like, give me my personal bubble. Give my child their personal bubble because they don't need you in their face. That's what it is. That's what spreads the virus. Yes, I mean, if someone 6 feet away is sniffling and sneezing, yeah, we're all probably going to get that sickness because we're going to get it because we're going to be close to that person not thinking about it, and then it's just going to spread. Absolutely. But it's really about if we keep him close to us and we're aware of our surroundings and being careful, he'll most likely be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I'm saying. After that rant of...
Yeah. And this is what conversations are for. Sometimes you're going to disagree, and that's okay.
I feel like we agree for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, we agree that we don't want our kids to get sick, for sure. But I think at Conrad's age now,
Oh, I'm not worried about Conrad.
He is so freaking sterile.
Yeah.
He needs to get some sickness.
Yes.
Because that kid is going to
Yeah, but the other problem with that isn't necessarily that we kept him in this bubble for 6 months of his life. It's because he doesn't get exposed to other children at this point.
Yeah.
That's really it.
And I think it's eventually going to start coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think it's interesting that we're having this conversation because we do have friends who their kids went to daycare at 3 months old.
Right.
You know what I mean? Who are already exposed and brought home sicknesses and got sick. Their immune systems are probably a lot more robust than Conrad's at this age. And I feel like that's the problem with a lot of this generation of kids who are video gamers, who don't go outside and play in the dirt.
Well,
who
I think
don't
even
go to.
I mean, pause from there. It's just kids who haven't been in school for 2 years because of
Exactly.
COVID.
Exactly.
That's why all these things are. People are like, "Oh, why is this all so high?" Well, because it hasn't been traveling around for 2 years.
Yeah,
yes.
they've been sterile for 2 years.
I was always very healthy, knock on wood. You know, yes, if you ask my mom, I got sick because I went to daycare and stuff, but like, I also did very well even getting sick. So hopefully they got some of my immune system and things that are, helping them, even though they're not exposed necessarily, they have some antibodies and things from, some of these sicknesses that I've always been very fortunate not to be down and out with and things.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with you. I'm not saying we can't go do these things. I'm just saying we have to be mindful during this time because of the timing of when we're having him. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Because
I know we talked about not being as strict this time because we feel a little bit more comfortable, and I completely agree. It's just timing between Christmas. If it was after Christmas, I probably wouldn't be like that. It's just because of that. We're going to be seeing people we normally don't see all the time in a larger groups of people and things, and we just have to think about how we want to handle that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think with Griffin though, I think it's I expended all my type A kind of just
I can see it coming back a little bit. Yeah.
With Griffin, I'm just okay, dude. For instance, Conrad falling, he falls. I'm like, okay, dude, pick yourself up. You're good.
Yes.
You're good. Instead of, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I was like, get up, dude. You got it. Just
I feel like that changes when they're so mobile because you just have to let them fall and let them figure it out. And you can't make a big deal out of it. Otherwise, it's going to be freaking annoying every time they fall because they're going to cry and they're going to need you. And it's going to be this big debacle.
I think also the other thing that I just thought about with Griffin that I don't know, maybe we'll see when he comes. But I was always so gentle with Conrad. When I would hold him, I was just coddle him. Fucking hold Griffin like a football, and I'm holding Conrad over here. Get your ass over here. I think I'm just gonna be a little bit more relaxed. Because
I think we all are because it's the second one. We kind of know what to expect. Obviously, it's gonna be different, but we know how to change a diaper, and I know we both did, but but it's just different. Okay, we've already done this. We know we didn't break the first one, so we know we're not likely to break the second.
Sometimes when I change Conrad's diaper, I'm literally hanging him up like this from his legs because that's the only way. If his back is on the ground, he will twist on you like a freaking anaconda. So I just hold his legs up like this, so only his neck is touching the pad. Dude, just relax, man.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I guess only time will tell.
It's only time will tell.
We'll see how we are with the baby.
Are we gonna stick on our every 2 hour feed schedule? Oh,
I think you feed them when you need to feed them.
Oh, I think we should do that. I was kind of on board with that.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like that went well, and Conrad started sleeping really well and stuff.
I think we'll see how Griffin is. I also did read, though, and I'm not bullshitting you, I also did read that if a baby is sleeping, do not wake it up.
Really? But on the last time, you always made me wake him up.
I did read just recently, and when I say recently, in the last 3 months, because it's not recent, but it's pretty recent, that babies, no matter what, will get their nutrition at some point during the 24-hour period. Yes. Should you wake them up in the middle of the night? Yes.
I think especially in the first month.
Yeah. Because they are still trying to get back to their birth weight, right? Once they're at the birth weight and then like gaining weight like at a good rate, if a baby is sleeping, let the baby sleep because they're still getting their nutrition throughout the day.
Well, thank you for updating me to this.
Well, it's not pertinent. That's what I said. Like, we're freaking 3 months. And this was something I read 3 months ago. So I was like, we still got freaking 6 months. Like, it's not pertinent. But, and I don't know where it was off of some Academy of OB or something like that. They were talking about how babies get their nutrition. They will drink a lot. That's why taking care of babies says try to get all your feeds during the day, right? Because they may get like that one twilight feed.
Yep.
And that may be enough for a baby. Not all babies are like that. Right. But if you can get them on a consistent schedule during the day and feed them, they'll be better suited to sleep during the night and maybe only need one feed as opposed to, I don't know how every 2 hours I think we did.
Yeah.
For the first month at least. Yeah. Or I don't know, 2 months.
I think we did it pretty good for the first 2 months.
Yeah. So, and this is something like I said, when we get to that point, we'll see how it is. But I think after a certain point, if the baby's sleeping, they should be fine until... like say like a 4 a.m. feed, like I said, the timing will depend on when they go to bed, obviously, right? Some babies will eat at 8 and then eat at 10 right before bed, and they should be good until 4 o'clock because then they're going to start feeding every 2 hours until 8 o'clock at night. So,
no, I think for the first month, definitely trying to keep them on that 2 hour, 2 to 3 hour schedule.
That's what I read too.
To like get the birth weight up and make sure all that's good, and for the supply.
Yeah,
So I agree with that, but I think definitely after that, like letting them sleep, especially at night, is like, for sure. And I think we pretty much did that though. I think we did try to push 3. It was just Conrad was just up.
Yeah. Until we put him on his belly.
Yep.
Dude was just like knocked the F out once we put him on his belly.
Yep.
So, I guess it will depend. And like, if you guys are more educated at this and you want to comment down below and say I'm wrong, go ahead. Cite your sources though while you do that. And it better not come from like CNN or Fox News that you read shit like that.
Absolutely not Fox News.
Yeah. This came from like an Academy of OB where I was reading this shit. But I think the feeding thing is going to be different. But hopefully different because hopefully Griffin sleeps.
Oh, I just hope he takes naps. I think that's like my big thing.
Oh my gosh.
Conrad still doesn't take naps.
Dude, just FOMO. He has FOMO all the time. He had FOMO
since the beginning because he was already like...
Yeah, he came out of the freaking womb like just... Oh. What is
this? Is life?
Looking around. Dude. Yes. I bet that kid watched his whole circumcision happen because he was just like, oh, I want to miss this. What are they doing? I think I just exposed myself right there.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yes, I'm circumcised, okay? Damn it.
Don't think you did. You said Conrad was.
Yeah, but like father, like son, they say.
But not necessarily. Because maybe you were just like, I don't want this
turtleneck.
I don't want my sons to have to go.
Shit was hard to keep clean.
But now you just exposed
You need
yourself.
to get yours nipped so you can keep it clean. Oh, and that's also a personal thing too. If you don't circumcise your kids,
totally fine.
We're not knocking on that.
No, we're just talking about our own.
We're just talking about my own wee wee. Got the snip snip.
Should we talk about Conrad's wee wee? And now we're gonna tell the next doctor to do
cut a little bit more. Just don't cut the tip. Just cut the extra shit off. Freaking Conrad. We love our kids though. We absolutely love our kids to death.
So much.
He's so cute.
You know what
He's growing so fast.
You know what he did today? I gave him one of the pens while he was because I was trying to change his diaper, and he will not stay still, so you have to distract him, right? Well, no, the pen didn't distract him. He gets his butt up, sits up, and starts poking his
Oh my gosh.
And he like is like poking it, and then he looks up at me and like smiles. He's like, aren't I cute?
Dude, also, and this
like,
is probably
oh
TMI, we probably shouldn't be sharing this shit, but this shit's so funny. He sits in the tub and just squeezes the living shit out of his balls.
He's gonna be so mad at us for telling
this. Yeah, Conrad, when you listen to this, when you're like 20, 18 years old, whatever, you were squeezing your balls, and I kept telling you to stop.
Yes.
And you just look up at me like this. What the? Ting ting. Freaking weirdo kid.
He is so weird.
He's so cute.
He's so great. Yes.
What else? What other thoughts you had before we wrap up this podcast?
I don't know. I just think we're gonna be more relaxed parents on this next baby.
Going off of that, we are now tied 2-2 adult to kid ratio. So to all my friends out there who have 3, I want to know how you do it, because we're hoping to have 3, maybe 4. We're going to be outnumbered here in the next couple years. We're one-on-one here now. We need freaking one-on-one. So if one parent, I think this is one thing we'll talk about, but if one parent is occupied with one kid and the second kid is just throwing a tantrum, the other parent got to go get that kid.
Or you hand off the kid you have.
True. Whoever's good with that kid who is freaking throwing the tantrum. Yes. We are 1v1 right now.
Oh, yeah.
We're 2v1. Now we're going to be 1v1. That's going to be freaking nuts. I call Griffin. It's probably going to be a lot easier than Conrad. Conrad's going to be freaking running around.
You can have Griffin after the first 3 months.
Why is that?
That's my rule.
Oh, because you're going to be home? Just have Griffin to yourself?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It is funny, though, because I'm interested to see their personalities.
Me too.
Conrad is definitely becoming a little bit more of a mama's boy.
Oh, yeah.
Than... I was a mama's boy too, but he's definitely becoming a mama's boy. I don't know how Griffin's gonna be. I mean, it'd be interesting to kind of see. I guess all our boys, if they're all mama's boys, I don't care. But it'd be interesting to kind of see.
You know what I think you're gonna have to remember? Is that you get to go to work all day for the first 3 months, and I'm gonna be home with 2 kids.
No, just kidding. No, actually, I think, and looking back at how, like, you were home with Conrad, because you obviously are like the nurturer, right? Like your mother, you're breastfeeding them, you're close to them and things like that. It's interesting how like fathers can't breastfeed, right? But I try to kind of do some sort of feeding by giving them, like, I feed Conrad before he goes to bed, so I do some sort of feeding. And I think every dad should do that to kind of feel close to their kids as well, because aside from just playing with them and holding them and cuddling with them, I think there's something about like the whole feeding thing, breastfeeding, or even just feeding in general, that relationship and that bonding time you have with them is like essential. So if dads are out there, I know you don't got boobs with breast milk in it, but try to like feed your babies when you can, because
providing for them.
Yeah, and they don't know anything. They don't know it's coming from a nipple or a nipple on a body or a nipple on a bottle. Right. For some, it doesn't even like phase them what it is. Now they maybe like understand the differences because their tongue and everything, but consciously, I don't think they really know. But when they look up at you, I think that's probably one of the greatest like eye to eye like contacts I've had with Conrad. It's just watching him watch me as I'm feeding him. Like I enjoyed those moments. So. Aww. If guys, dads, you have the opportunity to feed your babies, do it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think it just like allows mom that time to just be like, okay, it's not my turn.
Yeah, but you'll also probably be pumping your boobs.
God, don't remind me.
Yeah.
I'm already like, I only have 3 months left to freedom.
Yeah. Then your nipples are gonna be chapped there.
I can already feel like things are happening, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Good luck. My nipples are going to be nice and smooth.
Not after I get done with them.
Oh, let's end this podcast right here. Alrighty, guys. Like I said, disclaimer, everything we talked about today is just how we've gone through.
Yes.
our pregnancies and how we hope to kind of move forward with our second baby. You have to adapt everything to your personal preferences and what you feel is right and comfortable for your family. So we just want to kind of give like a little bit of a roadmap on what we done and maybe something you might like to do too, and kind of follow through. So, and for our single friends who don't have kids, start having kids because
it's great.
It's awesome. And so our kids have friends.
And all of our friends who are married and say they're going to have kids.
Get on it.
It's about damn time.
Get on it. It's about damn time.
In a minute, I'm going to need a
sentimental man or woman to pump me up.
I was trying to think of like words that would go with our theme today. And you just messed it up. That's okay.
Alrighty, guys. This is the Unscripted Conversations podcast. My name is Jay.
And I'm Molly.
Thanks for listening. Smash that like button and subscribe as usual. And we'll be back for another episode of this podcast.